ultimately do you feel like the legacy of this team is going to be, having gone as further than any other team in franchise history?
The Seattle Mariners are the only MLB team to never reach the World Series. There are 30 franchises. The Mariners have been one of them for nearly 50 years. No World Series games played. And for all the star players they've had come through and dominate baseball in Seattle, they've never been all that close. Never in the driver's seat to get there. And as of late, it seemed even more barren than that. One home playoff game in the last 2 decades. An 18-inning game that they scored 0 runs in. So, yeah, Mariners fans can be a pretty sad bunch. Something that started to change when in September of 2025, the Mariners rolled into Houston, tied for the American League West title with just 10 days left in the season, and swept the Astros.
No score, 2 out, nobody on, top of the first. Fly ball, left field, take cover in the Crawford boxes, it is gone!
Tonight here in Houston.
He got him, and that's the ball game. The Mariners are all alone in first place. What a statement win.
56 home runs on the season. His next home run will surpass the Hall of Famer, the great Ken Griffey Jr., for the most home runs in a single season in Mariners history.
Cal, deep, the opposite way, and history! Number 57, a number never said before. The most ever by a Mariner. He has passed Ken Griffey Jr. Fly ball, gap, right center field, and
Double him up in second.
Victor Robles makes the catch.
Yes.
And that's the biggest series win in a lifetime for the Mariners.
The 1-2 pitch, swing and a well-hit ball deep to right field. Cole going back, looking up, and goodbye baseball. Grandma, get out the rye bread and mustard. It is grand salami time. J.P. Crawford.
Looking at this as an opportunity to really bury the Astros and put yourself in really prime position to win the division in the next few days.
Swing and a well-hit ball down the right field line. Stay fair. Goodbye baseball. Holy smokes, he does it again. And the branch 3-2 Altuve fastball, strike 3 called, and it's over. The Mariners win it 7-3 over the Houston Astros. They sweep aside Houston. The Mariners are now 3 games in front of the Astros in the American League West with 6 to play.
Momentum was at a high in Seattle that hadn't been seen in decades. Something that carried over when they also won their next 3 games against the Colorado Rockies. A sweep accentuated by Cal Raleigh becoming the first Mariner, catcher, or switch hitter to hit 60 home runs in a season. A truly unforgettable face, just face, you're not getting me on this one, for this franchise. They do call this man Big Dumper, though. I'll let you have your fun there. It's because of the size of Cal's posterior. This sweep clinched the Mariners' first division title in 24 years, punching their ticket all the way to the second round of the playoffs thanks to how well they'd played down the stretch. Hype was palpable in Seattle. They even had an intra-squad playoff game open to the public to get ready for their first real playoff games that 51-year-old Mariners legend Ichiro Suzuki played in, so the vibes were just absolutely unreal right now. But to say the Mariners got this far just because of Cal Raleigh, or Ichiro's wonderful smile still being around every so often, is a lie. Their lineup was the deepest it had been in years. Their pitching staff manhandled most opponents due to Seattle being the most pitcher-friendly environment in MLB, and Cal had a fantastic co-face of the franchise in Julio Rodriguez, the premier center fielder in all of baseball. Julio has long proven to be the engine of the Mariners over the length of his career so far. When he's at his best, so are the Mariners. Their seasons tended to directly correlate with how well he plays individually, which is kind of unheard of in modern MLB. Sure, you might see a team ride the highs and lows of its star more for quarterbacks or in the NBA, but baseball is the ultimate team game, since every hitter can only do damage once every 9 times their team sends a hitter to the plate. So when Game 1 of the 2025 ALDS saw the Mariners send Julio to the plate in a scoreless game in the 4th inning, he had a chance to keep that train moving.
Rodriguez into center field, backing his Meadows at the wall. Julio 1-0.
Julio Rodriguez was less than 1 year old the last time the Mariners scored a run in the playoffs in Seattle. The crowd needed this jolt more than words can really describe. George Kirby almost got the Mariners through 5 scoreless innings, only falling behind for a short period though before Julio does what Julio does. Game 1 of this Mariners-Tigers ALDS evolved into a battle of bullpens. The Mariners failed to score in the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, or 11th innings of this game. One 11th inning single for Detroit was all the scoring this game had left in it. And that was enough. Not a good omen to lose the first game at home for the Mariners since Detroit was sending the best pitcher in the world to the mound for Game 2.
Got him! On a 103-mile-an-hour fastball, Tarik Skubal.
You don't get to see this much anymore.
Ooh, I actually felt something in my leg there. I regret that. You know what I'm really looking forward to is the upcoming World Baseball Classic. I'm a big World Baseball Classic guy, have been for basically the entire runtime of the World Baseball Classic. Some of my earliest baseball watching memories are of the first World Baseball Classic, and I've been hooked ever since. I was 6 years old then, and now I'm old enough that I get to go experience it a lot, in person, thanks to SeatGeek. This video is brought to you by SeatGeek, the #1 ticketing app, with 35 million downloads and over 70,000 events to choose from. The NBA, NHL, and college basketball are in full swing, Major League Baseball is on deck, and you can already get your World Cup tickets at SeatGeek. SeatGeek makes the process very simple. Green dots are good, red dots are less good, and the deals are all rated 1 to 10. I have been a longtime user of SeatGeek, and the visual aid and convenience factor of it is second to none. And of course, I have a code for you guys. You can use code SRS10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code SRS10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek. Tarik Skubal completely overpowering the Mariners and not allowing a hit through the first 3 innings was almost expected. He did this to everyone since the start of 2024. It was going to be a long road ahead for the Mariners in a best-of-5 series if Skubal was going to pitch like this. Thankfully, Luis Castillo kept pace on the mound for Seattle in the early innings of this game, buying the Mariners enough time for Jorge Polanco to strike.
Polanco sends this to left, and that ball is history.
Skubal rebounded over the next few hitters and looked like his untouchable self again. Thankfully, Luis Castillo and reliever Gabe Spire kept pace, buying the Mariners enough time for Jorge Polanco to strike. Again. Yes, you heard that correctly. I was basically able to reuse the same flow of the script. That's how this happened to play out.
Payoff pitch to Polanco. Fastball drilled deep left field. Jorge Polanco has done it again.
This is just wonderful. A real chance at the first Mariners home playoff win since a year before The Wire aired. Just hold on a little bit longer and...
The other way, it's a fair ball down the right field line. Torres will score. Here comes Green into third. Joey Cora giving him the wave. Here's the throw. It's cut off, and this game is tied.
Oh, damn it. That's not good. Cal and Julio, can you, please save us? That would be super awesome.
Hard hit ball by Raleigh. Down the right field line towards the corner. And the big dumper is looking for extra bases. And he's got another. Line drive down. It's a foul ball. And the Mariners take the lead. Julio Rodriguez has come up clutch yet again.
Swinging a bouncy ball, first base line behind the bag, Naylor. Underhand flip to Munoz at the bag, it's over. The Mariners win it, they tied the series at 1-1 apiece. They win Game 2 of the best-of-5 set here at T-Mobile Park before a sellout crowd.
And there it is, look at that. Game 3 in Detroit was perfect for getting back on track to ice the series. Saying Cal Raleigh hit his first homer of the playoffs would be a nice summary, but it'd be dumb and wrong to simplify the game just to that. Eugenio Suarez and J.P. Crawford also hit homers, and Logan Gilbert provided the Mariners 6 innings of 1-run ball. striking out 7 with no walks along the way. Logan is widely considered the best pitcher the Mariners have right now. He led baseball in innings and whip a year ago and just posted by far the highest strikeout rate of his career, even if he might have lost the number 1 spot in the rotation right now to teammate Brian Wu, who they're hoping can return from an injury if they advanced past this series. Gilbert is probably considered their highest upside pitcher. Clutch pitching performances are a staple of teams coming through this time of year, and Gilbert may be the best candidate this team has to do that for them. Also, he has phenomenal taste in movies.
As of a few years ago, you said your favorite movie was The Dark Knight. Is
That's
that
true.
still true? Still true?
That's true, yeah.
That's the
Okay.
point right there.
You can watch more like this on our new show, The No Sports Zone, presented by Raving Sports, by the way. Link in the description. Back to the Mariners stuff. With a 3-0 lead in the 5th inning of Game 4, the Mariners were slowly starting to taste being one round away from that first World Series trip in team history. They were in a spot they hadn't been in what felt like an eternity. The driver's seat. And then...
Hard hit ball by Dingler towards left. That's going to get past Arozarena. That's the second time he's misplayed an angle in this series. That's going to score McKinstry all the way from first. And we're in second, the 2-2. Back up the middle, a base hit. Jahmai Jones will score. RBI single to tie Game 4. Breaking ball lifted to right. Riley Green has finally come alive. Tigers lead.
The 2025 Mariners season was set to come down to a do-or-die winner-take-all game against the Tigers back home in Seattle. Skubal back on the mound to face them. It was not going to be easy, making blowing the 3-0 lead in Game 4 an even tougher pill to swallow. Magic was needed, particularly when it felt like you were on a tightrope even with a 1-0 lead against Skubal. He struck out 13 Mariners across 6 innings, walking none, allowing just 2 hits. Seattle was fortunate enough to get 1 run, and I do not use the word fortunate lightly since I probably have a better chance of time traveling to 1955 and landing a date with Marilyn Monroe than the Mariners have of scoring another run off him. In the 6th inning here, the Mariners seemed to understand this. When Javi Baez doubled to lead off the inning, bringing Kerry Carpenter to the plate, the same hitter who took Kirby deep in Game 1, they just yanked him right then and there to play it safe. They were not taking any chances. Kirby was done after 5 scoreless innings and just 66 pitches. They wanted the lefty in there for Carpenter and not risk anything slipping away this time, which made what happened next a lot more maddening.
Carpenter swings and sends one out towards right center field. Rodriguez all the way back at the track. This ball's gone! Kerry Carpenter has done it again! He's given Detroit the lead in Seattle!
Thankfully, the second the Tigers removed Skubal from the game, the Mariners seemed to realize their shot in this game had just been rejuvenated. Jorge Polanco worked a 1-out walk in the bottom of the 7th, Josh Naylor singled him to second 2 batters later, and backup utility infielder Leo Rivas came up with the game-tying single to reignite the fire Mariners fans had waited all night to see. They wanted playoff baseball in Seattle. They were now getting one of the most tense games you could possibly see. 8th inning, low-scoring tie game, loser goes home. When Kerry came up to bat in the 8th, they again took no chances, this time deploying their best relief pitcher and one of the most unhittable in the game. Andres Munoz was a guy the Mariners had learned to lean on more and more, and for good reason. He was getting better at run prevention every year since 2023 and was now among the mega elites of baseball at generating swings and misses and strikeouts. When he walked Kerry, you almost felt fine with it. Keeping him to just first base was a win. When he walked Gleyber Torres right behind him, though, maybe you started to get a little nervous. Nerves only briefly alleviated when he got out of the inning 1 hitter later. I say briefly because now the Mariners had to come up clutch offensively. Cal and Julio failed. The moment felt like it was passing. Munoz couldn't pitch forever. Relievers don't work like that. They used basically every arm they had over the last 2 games, a consequence of pulling Kirby early and it's still not working out. When Leo Rivas struck out looking to end the bottom of the ninth, the Mariners were running out of pitchers to turn to. Since 2021 in Seattle, Gangsta's Paradise by Coolio blaring over the speakers meant one thing: the most gangsta pitcher on the team was coming into the game. Naturally, that gangsta was Logan Gilbert.
Not a gangster.
As you know, Logan pitched 6 innings of Game 3. You would think he's off the table here for anything more than a brief cameo, like Cillian Murphy in his favorite movie, The Dark Knight. His arm had to rest up after all. Pitching makes you sore. Human bodies are not meant to do this motion all the time. So, imagine the thrill of the crowd when they heard what song came on next. I'm not playing the full real version, no copyright claims over here. We got the Super Mario 64 sound font instead.
1-2 delivery. Got him. See what happens on a 1-2 pitch. Got him with a strikeout on the splitter.
We now skip all the way to the 12th inning. Major League Baseball's extra inning rules of runners starting at second base is not a thing during playoff games, so extra inning marathon on our hands. Logan gives the Mariners everything he has tonight, but it's clear he's used all his bullets after 2 singles to start the 12th. Edward Bizzardo comes out of the bullpen and amazingly cleans up the mess without any runs scored, getting out of the jam unscathed. After a leadoff walk in the bottom of the inning to Rivas, what I can only describe as shenanigans take place next.
Now it's Robles. Toss to first. That ball gets away. Rivas is headed to second base. And the winning run is in scoring position for Seattle.
And now here's Robles, turns the bunt, and he gets hit by the pitch. Butts it out in front of the plate, but he's hit by the pitch.
Luck is finally on the Mariners' side. 2 runners on base, no out. Go win!
Rosarena. Back to Montero. Throw to second to Torres. Inning over.
Bizzardo strikes out the side in the 13th. Mariners get a guy on in their half of the inning and then double play. 14th inning sees Bizzardo and another starter, Luis Castillo, keep Detroit off the board. Mariners have their 3rd out of the inning caught at second base. The top of the 15th inning is 3 up, 3 down for the Tigers. Surely, something has to work this time for the Mariners at the plate, right? Like, this has to be it, right? Raleigh and Julio are coming up now.
Into center field. Meadows started in, goes back, makes the catch. Crawford will tag from second. He will advance. That ball gets away, but it's backed up by Canley, but that's going to allow Rosarena to go up to second.
Oh my goodness. Detroit intentionally walks Julio to force someone other than the guy who drives the boat of Mariners' success to beat them, which puts Jorge Polanco at the dish for Seattle, with a chance to send the Mariners off to the American League Championship Series. It's almost 1 a.m. on the east coast of the United States. These fans have waited nearly 5 hours of play to decide if their season is going to go on. And I'm pleased to report Jorge Polanco provided that answer.
Polanco sends it into right and will send Seattle to the American League Championship Series for the first time in 24 years.
A celebration was earned and cathartic. The Seattle Mariners were pushing towards a place they had never been before. But the immediate celebration had to be short and sweet. Exactly 48 hours after George Kirby threw the first pitch of Game 5 against Detroit, the Mariners had a game to play in Toronto for a best-of-7 series to do what had never been done before: put the Mariners on the biggest stage in baseball. 48 years after first becoming a franchise alongside the Toronto Blue Jays, the two teams matched up for a date with destiny. The first pitch Kirby threw in that euphoric Game 5 was a called strike to Kerry Carpenter. The first pitch the Mariners throw in Toronto goes like this.
Showdown. Division series, and on the first pitch, George Springer lights the fire.
We are unfortunately not in Kansas anymore. Never were, that's a pretty long haul, but I'm guessing you've seen The Wizard of Oz if you're watching this. The Mariners go from a top of the first inning that saw Cal Raleigh thrown out at home plate into the top of the sixth inning without a single base runner. Every single Mariner is retired between Jorge Polanco's fielder's choice in the first and Cal's third plate appearance of the night in the sixth inning. It would be nice to feel something again.
High drive right field. Cal Raleigh has connected and tied the game in the sixth. 3-2. Blanco rips one to left field, base hit. Rodriguez heads home and the Mariners have taken the lead. The 0-2 from Munoz. Popped up. The Seattle Mariners retired 23 of the last 24 and in 100 pitches shut down the Blue Jays in Game 1.
After that first pitch homer, the Mariners did not allow another run all night. A win on the road in Game 1 after the bedlam and probably bender this team went on after their last win against Detroit 2 nights ago. Fewer than 24 hours after this now was another game in Toronto, and another opportunity to add to our story.
1-2. And it's hit down the left field line, hit hard, and it's fair, and it's gone. Julio Rodriguez with a 3-run homer, and the Mariners jump out early.
Logan Gilbert didn't have it on the mound today, so this blissful 3-0 lead didn't last much longer. We were still tied at 3-3 when Polanco hit a 3-run homer in the fifth to replenish that 3-run lead. That's too many threes for me to say in one sentence. And then, one thing led to another, and the Mariners won this game by 7 runs. No team had ever lost an LCS after winning the first 2 games on the road. Every other team in baseball has had a time like this at least once. A feeling that you are about to take the national stage with a chance to bring home a championship. And the anticipation is just building and building and building until it's all you can possibly think about. It's consuming you in the best way. If you're someone who loves this team and has been through 48 years of coming up short, this is what you do that for. You sit through the heartbreaks to get to the moments like this. A chance to come into your ballpark for Game 3 feeling on top of the world. And then your star center fielder comes up to bat for the first time.
Rodriguez drills a ball left center field, headed back there, goodbye!
Mariners fans, I am so happy you got to have this memory. Cal Raleigh and Randy Arozarena hit homers in this game too, a night that started like no other in Seattle. The only problem was what the score was when Cal and Randy hit their homers. That was obviously the real story of the game. Game 4 was very similar. Josh Naylor home run early, then the longer this game goes on, the more obviously out of hand it gets for the Mariners. Game 5 appears to feel eerily similar out of the gates. Solo shot in the second inning for the Mariners. Lead doesn't last long. What makes this one feel a little bit more uneasy, though, is that it's Brian Woo's first postseason game after missing the whole Detroit series with an injury. And out of the bullpen in the middle innings of this game, rust looks like it's there.
And now he's got a base hit into shallow right. Kirk is getting the wave. Throws up the line and he'll score.
Trouble brews in the 6th and 7th innings, but Woo escapes both times, keeping it so Seattle is down just 1 run. A loss here would be completely demoralizing. Winning the first 2 on the road before losing all 3 at home, and then having to go back to Toronto forced to win 2 in a row. It's much more comforting to be the ones in the driver's seat. I've used that term a lot this video, but there is something to be said about being the team that has the slack. Especially when you know a trip to Toronto is happening regardless. Steal this game back, and then you only need 1 win up in Canada to give Mariners fans something they've waited their whole lives for.
Trailing in this series. Here's a high fly ball, deep left field. Did he get enough? He did! Big dumper! Biggest swing! takes ball 4. 1-2 pitch. Gets hit. It's another rally. Now the Jays. Bases loaded, nobody out. Another 2-2. It's another fastball. It's driven the other way. It's got a chance. It's a grand slam. Up the middle. Crawford. So close they can taste it. The Mariners take a Game 5 thriller. The one win from the World Series.
With this win, the Seattle Mariners are in a place they've officially never been before. One win away from going to the World Series. This is now officially the most successful season in Mariners history, which is still really sad since the World Series hasn't even been clinched yet. Even being in this spot of leverage in the series is the best this team has ever been able to say for itself. Win one of the next 2 games in Toronto, and you'll do it. No team has ever won the first 2 games of an LCS on the road and failed to win that series. History is even on the Mariners' side, maybe for the first time ever. Well, I did say they had 2 chances in Toronto. To say they were ever really in Game 6 would be a bit of a lie. They made 3 errors in the field, 2 home runs were hit off Gilbert, and the lineup was mostly shut down by Trey Savage, a rookie pitching in just his 6th MLB game total. The first ever Game 7 in Seattle Mariners history, with the promised land on the line. Me personally, I was super duper mega locked in on this from a Mariner perspective. I watched the entirety of John Boyce's History of the Mariners on the day of Game 7. This shrine was built in front of the TV for me, and it was all because of something John phrased better than I ever could.
The Seattle Mariners are not competitors. They're protagonists.
They are a team beyond easy to pull for here. A fan base who yearns for this win more than anything. A group of guys who so badly want to be the ones who break through and become the first Mariners ever to break free from being the 1 out of 30 never to experience this. And the Mariners first took the field the same year John Cena was born, so not to call John Cena old or anything, but that's long enough that absence grew to be painful. Here's a picture of John Cena next to every Mariners team to reach the World Series, by the way. Alright. Game 7 in Toronto. Let's ride.
And he pulls one past a diving Clement and into the left field corner. And Rodriguez has a double here to begin the ball game. Here, ground ball right side past Guerrero. Here comes Rodriguez. Barger has a cannon, but the throw is laid, and Seattle is on the board in the first inning of Game 7. Naylor not going, and it's grounded to Clement. Steps on the bag, and the throw hits Naylor. Obviously wanting to know if Naylor deliberately got in the way of that throw. Well, I don't know that he didn't do anything, but they are going to say that he did go out of his way, and it's an interference on Naylor. So a double play finishes off the inning.
Nice move there, Josh Naylor. Not the first time you've used your head in a baseball game and doctors wanted to check if your skull was still intact. Toronto claws right back in the top of the first, as they've tended to do of late when the Mariners strike first. Julio seems to really understand my point from earlier that this team goes as he goes, so like Darryl Strawberry when instructed to by Mr. Burns, simply hits a ball to the moon on command in his next at-bat. George Kirby settles down in the next few innings, long enough so that when Cal Raleigh also slugs another home run, it's now 3-1 Mariners. Kirby is again lifted early in a winner-take-all game to prevent any chance of him tiring out and giving up a big swing before it's too late. Only this time, they turned to Bryan Woo again. Woo had been the Mariners' most effective pitcher all season. Even if the only time he's thrown in the postseason, he didn't look 100% himself. So, Understandable here to turn to your best guy and see what he has for a short burst, when you literally have to win this game or else everything we've built here totally and abruptly collapses. He walks the first batter he faces, but does manage to dance his way out of trouble in the 5th with double play. He also dances around a 1-out single in the 6th inning so that we are now in the territory of counting the amount of outs left to go. It's 9, if you missed first grade math. But it's hard to shake a sense of dread here. Like, you're more worried that they have to survive more than keep it rolling. That's not exactly a good sign moving forward, particularly when Wu hits a wall to the 7th. They do yank him from this game to keep the risk here as low as possible, but they don't turn to their best reliever, Munoz. They turn to Edward Bizardo. The threat is here and now. The top of the Blue Jay lineup with 2 runners on and 1 out in a 2-run game. You need to escape right here and right now if you want to alleviate that sense of dread. Because in the hearts and minds of everyone who loves the Mariners, right now is not about watching and cheering and just hoping against hope your team can give you that final piece of happiness you've been waiting your whole life for. It's about avoiding disaster.
Ultimately, do you feel like the legacy of this team is going to be having gone as further than any other team in franchise history?
I have not seen a team take a loss as hard as I've seen the 2025 Mariners take this one. In my entire adult life, I don't think I've seen a Major League Baseball team take a loss as hard as this one, in this moment and beyond. And from an outsider's perspective, I can totally see why. They had it. They really had it. And all of a sudden it was gone. This might be the saddest loss you may ever find in baseball from a "we may never ever get this chance again" perspective. It took them 48 years to get 1 game short of the World Series. Who knows when that shot will come again? Mariners fans had to feel like their day will just never come. I am not a Mariners fan, even if I feel for this team from afar as much as I've ever felt for any team from afar. So, I asked my friends Lyle and TJ from the Marine Layer podcast to explain how lifelong Mariners fans think of the end of their season. I would like to hear, can you guys tell me 3 words each about how you feel about the Mariners season ending?
And this is about the Game 7 against the Blue Jays, right?
You can go as far as you want.
I'll give you 3 words. Where was Munoz? Should have been in that game.
And I'll give you 3 more. Pain, misery, and suffering.
Understood. That makes me feel sadder now. There's been little to no "look what we achieved here this year."
No one's really satisfied or happy with this, I think.
You know, I hate to use the word failure, but it's a failure. That's what we expected, was to get to a World Series and win a World Series, and that's, you know, what the bar is and the standard is, and, you know, it's what we want to hold ourselves accountable to. But, yeah, it hurts.
They wanted this one win so bad. I later asked TJ what he would have thought of the season if the Mariners got to this World Series and were swept in 4 blowouts. He told me that Game 7 in Toronto was the last game of the season he needed them to win. The Toronto Blue Jays wound up having a devastating Game 7 loss of their own in the World Series to the LA Dodgers. Close enough to taste winning it, and then the rug pulled out from under you. So close, yet so far. But I'm pretty confident most Mariners fans will tell you they'd trade places with the Blue Jays any day of the week. They would rather get to the World Series and lose in heartbreaking fashion than fall short of the dance even more. And that, to me, is the most heartbreaking part of all. All the Mariners and their fans can do in 2026 is hope to recapture the glory they did have and make the push all over again for that first World Series berth. To this point in their history, that is what being a Mariner is. The chase to be the first group that goes that far. Only time will tell who comprises that first group, but there is something I can say about the 2026 Mariners before their season even starts. Those who know what this franchise and its fans have been through are pulling for them, because, as a wise man once said, they are not competitors, they are protagonists, and I think they always will be.